So let's go through the presentation. I'll put the slide deck up on screen for you now. You're in control, Sidney. Like I said, I'll just be the annoying guy that chips in with the question when I don't quite get what's going on where, and we'll work our way through it.
All right, awesome, Chris. So yeah, if you look at the title of our discussion today, it's there. We recently released, and we've been kind of getting known in the marketplace for releasing this benchmark report. So we just released our 2023, and it's talking about navigating inflation through service efficiency. But you can see the subtitle talking about you can't manage cost and improve customer experience with traditional KPIs. And what I want everyone to understand, it's when we talk about traditional KPIs, it's more about the measurement. Most companies will look at a measure internally centric, I would say. It's, for example, first time fixed rate. You go out to go fix an asset, and then you close the invoice, and then you look good as an organization, right? What we do consistently with our Quant product is we measure our traditional KPIs over a 30-day period. And that will make things look different. So that's something I want everyone to think about and provoke the thought of changing how you measure. Because if you looked at an asset over a 30-day period, your services might look a lot different. And what we've seen, Chris, through our process is typically we see a large degradation when it comes to service performance. And I'll get a little bit more into that when we move to the slide deck of the importance and why. But essentially what I want to provoke is, what is a customer experiencing when it comes to uptime on their equipment? If you have to go back every few days or every couple of weeks and you don't have that 30-day gap, maybe there's an opportunity to improve how you're doing your total service call to keep customer satisfaction up and to minimize repeat visits. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, just a real quick interjection on that. I mean, one of the biggest challenges most service organizations have, it's a consistent issue, is we're always looking back at historical data. We're looking back at data. There's a great analogy I've heard a few times. It's like trying to drive a car with looking solely in that rear view mirror.
Yeah.
And of course, we live in a world where we want to talk about predictive and how we move into predictive analysis. But I also think it's smart to reduce that time frame of where we're looking back, because obviously there's a huge amount of value in where where we've been. You need to know where we've been to know where we're going, type thing. But like you pointed out there, Sid, and this is what I'm keen to see unearthed in the presentation, is the value that we can have from reducing that time frame and bringing back that reference point.
Yep.
But like you said, it's a mindset difference as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yep, yeah. Well said. Yeah, the next slide, if those that are curious who want to link the benchmark report, will be able to scan this QR code and download it from our website. Tremendous amount of information, so I encourage everyone to take a look at the benchmark. But if we move forward, you can see the amount of information that we've aggregated, Chris. We looked across 113 different organizations, more than 16 million work orders. That's a large data set, right, that we looked at. Over 125,000 technicians, and this is one that boggles me a little bit, right? 8.1 billion, right, in total service costs. And when we talk about aggregating this information, Chris, it's across multiple different types of industries, large equipment, small equipment, different types of organizations. So we have a very well spread database of information that gives us good indication that we're confident about what we're seeing and the commonalities amongst service organizations.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge data set, and it's also quite rightly it just goes to reconfirm how broad the service is. When we look at that final $8.1 billion, I remember Gartner a few years back now saying that the service industry was predicted to be $24 billion by 2030.
Yeah.
And within this snapshot, which is a very sizable snapshot of 113 organizations, it just goes to show actually we're well on track, if not going to surpass that, and especially global economic downturn, recession, whichever terminology we want to see. We know that service is going to be the primary revenue generator from the vast majority of service organizations, because there's not capex cost out there for new assets. So there's going to be assets sweated. But yeah, really, I mean, that's an impressive number of work orders to be looking through.
Absolutely. We're happy to share it. So the first time fix rate, Kris, we talked about it, right? This one I say often is people are probably tired of hearing about it, right? It's been out there for the longest time. It gets importance, then I think it loses importance. Personally, I'm going to say, and I probably shouldn't put personal feelings into this, but personally, I really think it's a strong one that you should always keep mind of, because I've made this comment before. Imagine as a service leader, you had an organization that every time they went out to fix something, they never had to come back, right, within a reasonable time. You would have a lot less headache, a lot less, lot less angry salespeople, a lot less angry customers, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm showing here is basically what our data set indicates. Basically, if I jump to the middle, the average organization is around 76% first-time fix rate, right? So what I want people to think about, if you're measuring, where do you stand against these three bars, right? Best-in-class organizations are pushing 87% first-time fix, but look at the dramatic difference on poor-performing organizations. I'm going to round down, even though I should probably say 55. I'm going to say essentially 50%, right? So bottom-performing organizations are taking 2 visits for every repair. And I know from some experience, a lot of organizations want to go out to do an assessment just to find out what they need to return with a part, right? And it's convenient for them because they can charge for that visit sometimes. And it's convenient for them because they don't have to manage their inventories in their vans as well, right? I'm saying that bluntly honest, but if you think about other companies that can do it near 90%, those companies might be coming tomorrow to take your customer's business. So a lot of opportunity to reconsider how you're performing. I mentioned, Kris, and you can see at the bottom left of the slide, we're measuring over a 30-day window. And I want to give an example of that. So imagine on day one, you got a call, you thought you solved it, you close the invoice, and a company may say, hey, effective first-time fix rate. But if you track that asset over a 30-day period, what we saw across this data set is most assets have a repeat visit. And what we see, Kris, is a tremendous decline. We typically see around 14 to 20% difference of a decline. So a company who may be at 90% by closing out that invoice at the first visit, if we track that asset over 30 days, we're seeing them closer to 70%. Really big difference, right? Go ahead, Kris. You were going to say something?
Yeah, no, well, it's just a couple of observations there, Sid. I mean, it's what we're starting to see here now by taking this approach is not the tick box exercise of how do we boost that KPI so we can look great in the organization. It's actually got an effective impact, because it's all well and good closing out that ticket, and that can translate across any industry, whether it's field service, software. How often have we had a ticket closed out just so we have to reopen, which adds to a negative sentiment from the customer. The other thing I'd say is it's been the field service mantra since, before I launched Field Service News, and I was editor for Service Management magazine, and right back to my QSM days. The truck roll, that first time fix is so important, because after that you're losing money. I know it doesn't translate across every organization, but that's the basic break. So if you look at these guys in that kind of blue section there, that bottom 20%, not only are for me, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, but it almost feels like there's a spiral of descent, because they're going to be losing bottom line revenue. That's going to be impacting the bottom line profit, which means that they don't have the tools, the revenue to invest in better tools, and so it's almost like a fight to the bottom. That's kind of my initial reading of that first chart.
You're spot on, Kris. I love what you said about customer satisfaction. I love what you said about the spiraling effect, right?
Hi, I'm Kris Oldland. I'm the Editor-in-Chief and founder of Field Service News. I hope you found that short excerpt from one of our long-form in-depth interviews of use to you in your role as a field service leader. If you did and you would like to see more of this type of content, I'd recommend taking a look at FSM Pro membership. FSM Pro membership will give you access to over 80 hours and counting of similar types of interviews, where you get access to the full-length conversation with a whole range of great thinkers and leaders from across the spectrum of the field service sector. You get entire access to our premium content library as well, so you get over 140 resources including white papers, research reports, executive briefings, plus FSN education content. And that's all available for a very low monthly fee, or an even better rate if you purchase an annual subscription. Head over to fieldservicenews.com, look for the link at the top of the page that says Become a Pro Member, and you'll find out more all about FSN Pro membership as well as FSN Pro Plus, and you can select which option is right for you. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.